Hello, everyone. This is Jenny. I put together a much longer than usual one. I decided not to speed anything up today. So, let's talk about what I'm doing. Today was actually a non-painting day. I did all of the kind of disassembly of the paintings I did the previous day, as well as oh, I gotta watch my man. It's such a nervous tick. I will do better. I will do better. I will get less nervous. I'm incredibly nervous. Okay. So I took apart all the paintings I did the previous day, and then I also I sorted them into ones that need more layers, and then the part that I hadn't shown you before is taking them and attaching them to the tracings that they're going to be painted on. That actually is probably the most, quote unquote, artistic part of this whole process. Debatably, everything else has already been done. The sketches that I'm tracing were done a long time ago. I was like, those are the biggest decisions that I make. So I think that might be the most interesting part. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, God. So it was like the one thing that I found very disconcerting when watching this footage back was how yellow my poor tea was. It was a type of tea that I usually don't drink in the morning. I think I filmed this in the afternoon. I'm not a huge coffee drinker. If you remember, I know I'm painting with coffee. If you remember, I used to work as a barista for a lot of years. And I actually also worked as a coffee roaster in there as well, which was one of the funnest, not kidding you, the funnest and lowest key job I've ever had. Granted, I did it like for a couple hours one day a week. So I was like, I made like no money, but it was so much fun. But I'm a little bit of a coffee snob. My normal drink order at any coffee shop is just a nice whole milk latte. I'm not a huge sweets drinker. So I was like, I tend to just like a really like creamy, fatty latte. Not quite a breve. I can't quite handle those. Those are a little too filling. But just a whole milk latte is my favorite. And just a small one. I can't drink a huge one anymore. I'm an old lady now. I think I've officially converted from my early 30s to my mid 30s. So, yeah. Anyways, the green tea that I'm drinking is one that I don't normally drink in the morning. It's like a fruity green tea, and it is like a disconcertingly yellow color. So I'm so sorry. It looks like urine. I don't know how else to say it, but it was delicious. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was a fruity green tea. And then I always drink it with a little bit of stevia in it. My mom, when I was like little, before stevia was like a thing, back when it was like a co-op-y granola, only the kind of hippie eaters actually knew what that was. She did, and she would give that to us with tea, or to the kids with tea. I guess maybe even me. I don't even know if my sister had any. Anyways, but that's what I'm drinking, and I hate the color. I will never drink that on a recording any longer. Ooh, I really liked how this one came out. So yeah, I'm just peeling the tape off. I tend to save the pieces of tape. As you can see, I kind of fold over one side so they're easy to kind of peel on and off. They do kind of tear, especially on the copy paper. So eventually I have to throw them away, but I try to reuse as much as I can. Plus making new strips, new little tapey strips is kind of annoying. So, and I was like, at some point I need to copy off some more, like enlarge and kind of blow up and copy off some more pieces of copy paper so I can retire some of the ones that have like a ridiculous amount of coffee all over them. They're actually starting to get hard to see through that light box. And usually if I was doing this without recording it, I would I would not have lights overhead. I was like, I put a lot of light, as you can see kind of on the top of the screen, there's a light bar that I have actually in front of me on my desk is my computer. I recently upgraded my setup. It's really kind of nice. But I got a double wide or like an ultra wide monitor, and I have a light bar above that that kind of shines down so it doesn't shine into your eyes. I really like it. Big fan. I guess I love, let's talk about this. I haven't really, maybe I've alluded to this in my last video or so, but about, ooh, you're about to see my really ugly colored tea. Look at how yellow. It's like I hate I'm never going to drink this on camera again. Gross. Anyways, and then here's me sorting out the ones that I have quote unquote completed and the ones that I'm still going to do more layers on. I think I completed 6 today, and there should be a little shot right at the end of this video. Maybe not the absolute end. Spoiler alert, there is a little video of my cats because they didn't come and join me today. They didn't take their time to appear on camera. So yeah, and I was like, and there's a lot of little decisions. Like I feel like that one was almost done, but not quite. So I'm going to do another layer on it. And I was like, there was a lot of ones that was the first layer that I put down. And I was like, I'm never happy with just one layer. They're kind of boring. But yeah, I was like, those are the 6 that I'm finished today. Well, actually, this was 2 days ago. So I was waiting for my new mic stand to come in. Look at that cat. This is my gray tabby Earl. He was sleeping. He has cute little yellow eyes. Not that you can see them. But he's just a cutie pie. Anyways, sorry. He just curled up on my bed. We switched over to the fall bedding ensemble. Oh, look at that cute face. Look at those whiskers. And he's just done. He's like, no, I'm sleeping. It's the middle of the day. This is what I do. I keep you up all night. And in the middle of the day, sleep. So anyways, this is kind of the most quote unquote artistic part of what I do, which is I have a giant stack of copier paper of these paintings that I've both blown up and kind of moved around the page and blown up even more, and that's what I use to paint. And so it's like I will go look and see what is on the page already and then kind of figure out what I think it would complement it well, and then dig through that stack of papers till I find something that I like. And I was like, I don't spend a whole lot of time on it. I do it really quickly via intuition, like real quickly, and then tape them up. And then spoiler alert, the next day, which hopefully I'll be able to record the voiceover or do the video later today, I decide what I'm going to paint the next ones with. So I was like, is it going to be coffee? Is it going to be tea? Is it going to be espresso? Depending on the color that I want. So a lot of these, as you can see, this one on screen already has tea on it, which is the lightest. Coffee is the kind of in the middle, and it has a little more of a gray tone, and espresso has that like kind of rich brown tone. And I love the rich browns. Again, browns and blacks are probably my favorite colors. That and olive green, as you can tell, because my bedspread's olive green right now. But yeah. So we're going to see a lot of this, because I just let the camera run, and it takes frickin' ever to do this. It's like today, I think of recording, this is about 38 minutes. So I did far more painting the following day, but I'm going to do a separate video on that because I really want this to kind of be done by the day. I was just waiting for my mic stand to come in so I didn't have to record with like my little AirPods. I'm hoping the sound quality is better today because I actually have like a professional podcasting microphone, because I'm spending way too much money on this stupid little hobby, which we'll see what happens. Who knows what's going to happen. no one's watching this yet, but maybe one day it will be. I've actually spent a lot of time going back through some of my favorite YouTubers and going to their super early, like their first videos, and just being okay with the fact that your first video, no matter what, is terrible. Like really terrible. I think I'm just, you know what? I'm a perfectionist. If I sat here and tried to make my first videos like beautiful and professional quality and all of the things that I don't quite know what I'm doing yet. And I was like, am I watching videos on how to edit and watching a lot of YouTube videos, trying to figure out what kind of B-roll I want to do and figuring out how to change up my shots so they're a little more dynamic. It's hard just to do the overhead all the time. And I was like, I will admit, okay, so I haven't really explained this to anyone yet, but I was like, I chose the like kind of name of anonymity art, mostly because I didn't want to put my face out there. I would rather tell the entirety of the internet world, every single personal detail of my life, than I would show my face. So I was like, I think that's the decision that I've made, is that I would rather not put my face out there. And it's probably just because I'm shy and I don't want, like, no one's watching this now, but 10 years down the road, maybe someone will. Maybe someone will catch on to this kind of, maybe I'll actually figure out what I'm doing recording, and maybe people will want to watch. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure. And I'm playing now. But I was like, and also, so anonymity. My name is Jenny. I will admit I have a very common last name. To the point where there's a really great story where, oh gosh, I don't know if I want to get way into it, but I found the other Jennifer who lives in the state that I live in with my literal exact same birth date. And I had an insane amount of, basically we got cross-referenced for a bunch of medical stuff. Oh God, it's terrible. But yeah, I had retroactively had all of my medical bills for like a year denied because I lived on the other side of the state, like multiple hours away from where I actually live. She's employed. And whilst trying to resolve this, this name kerfuffle, this logistical mess up where the two insurance companies only cross-matched our names, which again is very common, and our birth date. Nothing else. No social security number, nothing else. So of course we were the same person because we had a common name and apparently the same birth date. So random. Again, the story... how much time? I have time left. Okay. So I was in the middle of college, and I went to college while I was an adult. I was working 2 jobs, like at a coffee shop and a work study type position, living with my sister in an apartment, kind of like duplex apartment situation, duplex house, like the top level of a duplex. And because I was not making a lot of money and I was in a quote unquote adult, as I was over, 24, 26? I was on it's not Medicare for the old, you aid the poor, so Medicaid, because I was not making a lot of money. So I was on Medicaid, and I guess I haven't mentioned this to you guys at all. I also, when I was 22, was diagnosed type 1 diabetic. So I was like, and the funny story, and I was like, again, I know this isn't officially medically recognized yet. I've read a few case studies about it, but this happened after a car accident. So I was in kind of a traumatic car accident, and a couple days later ended up in the ER with like blood sugar of like 600. And the nurse that took me saw that I had this like giant, maybe 2-quart water bottle with me. And she goes, "Are you diabetic?" And I was like, "No, of course not. I've never been diabetic." And they ended up admitting me to the hospital. At first, they thought I had type 2 diabetes. It took about 6 months before they finally figured out. And after, like, I could eat nothing without my blood sugar skyrocketing. I mean, I don't want to throw the word eating disorder around, but I had a very messed up relationship with food at that point because I couldn't eat anything without having my blood sugar just go way out of control. And so, yeah, I was like, that was interesting. I don't know where this okay, but anyways, this medical, the other Jenny with my birthday. So I was in college, and I got this letter in the mail congratulating me on the birth of my baby. Spoiler alert, I'm single at this time. Have not dated for years, like multiple years. Literally humanly impossible for me to be pregnant. But I will tell you this, the story of Mary, Jesus and Mary and the virgin birth, messes a girl up. You were always scared that you could be pregnant and you don't know it. That story psychologically has messed up many a woman. So I literally got that letter and I was like, what the heck is going on? Like, what is going on? And I didn't know what to do about it. It was from my insurance company. I don't think I called up right away and asked them what was going on, but very quickly after that, maybe the next week or two, retroactively, all of my medical bills for that year started to get denied, like ones that had been approved. Oh, I'm going to adjust in my chair and it's going to be loud. I'm sorry. I have this like beautiful office chair that is like vintage and gorgeous. It's like from the 70s. I love it, but it squeaks like no one's business. And it's also like incredibly not ergonomic at all. So it hurts to sit in for a long period of time. But I care about aesthetics and I'm thinking about getting a nicer one, but I have not yet. Anyways, all of my medical bills started getting denied and I started calling my insurance company going like, what the heck is going on? And they're like, you don't qualify for Medicaid anymore because you have insurance from this other insurance provider. And I was like, no, I don't. What are you talking about? And I was like, I'm poor as heck and no one else is giving me insurance. So I eventually called up this other provider that they said I had, quote unquote, had insurance with, and started talking to them. And in the process of verifying again, they only verify by name and date of birth. And so I was like, but I'm not her, because like start asking me other questions. I'm not her. So they start asking me like marital status. And I was like, I'm single. And they're like, oh. And so like I was like, oh, this other Jenny is probably married. And so it was like they started just letting little things slip that they probably shouldn't have been disclosing. But they're like, do you work for so-and-so county's charter schools? So I was like, literally the other side of my state. I live in the Midwest. I do not live in a tiny Connecticut, Rhode Island like state. So it's like multiple hours north of me. And I was like, no, I live on the other side of the state. Huh? And so I was like, they've let enough information go that I had a suspicion that this other Jenny, for one, I know where she lives. I know that she's married. I know she works for a specific charter school district. And I had enough information. I found her online and I actually sent her an email once I kind of explained what happened. But then again, in order to get this whole thing resolved, I ended up, oh God, multiple hours over multiple weeks. In fact, months. Going back and forth. Like one of my particular doctor's offices, I knew by the first name the person in the billing department, and I had explained the story to her, and she kept on sending bills in, and they just kept on getting rejected every single time she sent them in. And I was like, I literally remember telling her, and I was like, this is like a couple $100 medical bill. To be honest, I would if if my insurance company didn't mess this up so royally bad, if I actually owed you the money, I would have paid it. But I don't owe you the money, and they messed up royally. And so it's like, she was really patient. Thank God. Eventually, I think it took like 6 months for them to like finally send this bill back and forth and finally like reauthorize it. But yeah, and so I ended up contacting this other Jenny who has my birthday and lives on the other side of the state and is married. And I remember the one thing that I asked her in this email, because I kind of just explained what was going on, and I was like, in case this ever happens again, here's my email. Like, we apparently are the same person, but we are not. So I was like, this might happen again, just so you know, this is happening to me. Yeah. And I think I sent this in the middle of the summer, and she was a teacher, so I don't think she got it until the fall. So I think it took her a couple months to get back to me. But I remember one of the things in that email is mentioning this letter about the congratulations on the birth of your baby. And I was like, I have a theory that I think you just had a kid. And she never let me know if I was right or not. I still wonder that. It's like, did the other Jenny have a baby? Who knows? Anyways, if she did, good for her. Yeah. But yeah, I was like, common name problems. That, and I was like, so we still have 60 minutes. I could talk about it. So I was like, the reason I'm making YouTube videos right now is because I was laid off last year, almost a year ago at this point. I was laid off of my job, which I loved very much. It was not the greatest working situation, boss-wise, unfortunately. But I loved what I did. And laid off isn't even really the right word. I was like forced to resign. It was a messed up situation. Very complicated. Legally not allowed to talk about it. But yeah, it was messed up. I won't say who my employer was or exactly what happened, but I was let go of my job, and I didn't really have anywhere to go. It was really scary, and of course this happened right before Christmas, which is, by the way, employers, like the best time to lay off your employees, because it is just no one is hiring right before Christmas. It's a giant middle finger to your former employee, that's kind of what I took it as. But anyways, it took somewhere around March. I was looking for a full-time job, mostly because I wanted insurance. Being diabetic, insurance is a really big deal to me. I spend a lot of money on medical supplies, like a shocking amount. I think I wrote something, or I wrote like an art kind of article. It was like an art project, but I did it like an essay form, where I I added up all my medical expenses while I was in college for a year, like every single medical expense, including like my insulin pump and all of my continuous glucose monitoring supplies and insulin. This is back before, luckily my state has implemented a Affordable Insulin Act type plan, so now I only pay a small amount per month for my insulin, but this was before that, back when I was paying like $800 a month for my insulin. I think that's how much it was. And then there was supplies and pumps and cartridges and CGMs, sensors and transmitters, and all the rest of the actual physical blood sugar testing supplies and all of that fun stuff. And I actually added it up and wrote this kind of like artistic statement about knowing that, I'm gonna choke up because it was really hard to write, about wondering whether or not my life was worth $40,000 a year, because I think it was somewhere around $45,000 I spent on medical expenses every year, including all my doctor's appointments and all my supplies. And like mentally coming to terms with that, I'm like choking up. I'm so sorry. That was hard to come to terms with. Like, is my existence worth that? And also, like, I was on Medicaid, so the government was paying for it. And I was like, am I contributing enough back to society to be worth this amount of money spent on me? That was really hard to come to terms with. But yeah, God, I didn't think I would get that deep in a story about getting a letter asking me or congratulating me on the birth of my baby that I definitely didn't have. But stuff like that happens. And I also kind of wondered when I was applying for jobs. I finally did get a job in March, and I now work contract. And I love my job probably more. I was like, there's things I miss about my old job, but I love this honestly more. I actually make a decent living. I have time off. Like the next 3 months, I'm not working a whole ton. I'm still going to make enough money. I'm going to be okay. But I was like, I have like a lot of free time at this point. So, and I was like, I miss painting. It's something I did in college. I will say I work in the photography industry. I started working in my school, or my art school's black and white photo development lab in college. And after I graduated, they needed some administrative help and asked me to stay on. And then ended up getting a full-time position working in in a photography studio in a marketing department at a furniture retailer. So yeah, I was like, that was really fun. I was like, I still work in the marketing department for I guess it would be a restaurant now. It's not technically a retailer. So in the restaurant industry, specifically working in food photography at this point. So yeah, I was like, I'm not going to talk too much about that. I really, not that I have signed a non-disclosure or anything about it, but I've read our social media policies, and I'm not 100% sure I want to be advertising who I work for. If they would like that as part of my social media persona, I guess. And so I was like, I will be respectful of that and not talk about my specific employer. Plus I'm contract, so I was like, I don't want to lose my job because I love it so much. But yeah, I was like, now I have like all this free time to do what? Oh, maybe pick up that project I love doing and just don't have any time to physically do. I used to come home from work and, work like 9+ hour days working with furniture too. And so it was like, I'm lifting and moving dressers and sofas and sectionals and moving them around our studio and such. And it is physically taxing. And you would just come home and you would like lay on a sofa and not want to move. Like I would like to put food in my mouth and then I would like to go to bed. And that's it. So yeah, I was like, luckily I don't work such a physical job anymore. I love my job just as much though. So I was like, I'm looking for, hobby to fill the rest of my time. And I miss painting this particular project. I'm really excited, like so excited to get back to. I have, once I'm done with this, which if I keep painting at the rate I'm painting, I might finish by the end of this year. Holy crap. But I have a few other books. I would like to do more of the grid sketches. I would love to do some more fresh ones to base taking apart another book on. I have this beautiful, I believe it's an aerodynamics textbook. Also got like at the clearance section of like a vintage bookstore. It's like a couple dollars. They were probably gonna toss it in a dumpster pretty soon if no one took it. But same kind of beautiful mathematic background on the pages and that same kind of old acidic yellowing that I love so much. Yeah. So I was like, let's say today I got a lot of paintings attached. Ooh, this one's going to be pretty. Paintings attached to the drawings that they're going to be traced on them. Following day, I did a lot of painting. I will have to come back and figure out something else to talk about. What else do I have to talk about? I was like, I got a new computer monitor and a mic stand and some new computer speakers. So I have this, now I can attach my laptop to this like extra wide monitor, which is like 2 monitors. I love it so much. Yeah, I don't get why people have 2 monitors when there's ultra wide monitors now. They're so cool. What if I got 2 no, that'd be too wide. I'd have to no, yeah, I was like, just the one is fine. I want like 7. Mostly because I'm a little ADHD. So another story, I don't have time to get into that today. But yeah. Oh, and it's fall. I was like, I love that, like, all of a sudden today I have a sweatshirt on so you can see my little black sleeves. But yeah, I was like, I actually had to close my windows last night because it was too cold. It got down into, I think, to like the high 40s last night. Maybe it was 50. I don't have my phone near me to check. But I was like, I actually had to close the windows. I have a little gas stove in my dining room that I turned on the pilot light to. My cat, Earl, loves to crawl up there and take naps because when the pilot light's on, it's just like perfectly just warm, barely. I don't know if he's found that I did that yet. I might have to just sit him on top of there, and then I will, for the rest of the winter, find him up there taking naps. I don't turn it on a lot, mostly because I don't spend that much time in my dining room. I need to get a couple bar stools. I have a bar that I've been slowly clearing out. But it has a really high bar top, like extremely high, to the point where I'm going to have some custom bar stools made, and they're going to be so expensive. But one day I will be able to have nice things. And I was like, I actually have no problems investing in furniture. Shocker, I used to work for a really nice furniture company. So I have a lot of really, really nice furniture. Beautiful walnut dressers and nightstands, and I have this like gorgeous steel bed, and yeah, I spent a lot of my money for my last employer outfitting my house, especially after I bought my house, which, by the way, I bought a house 3 years ago. And yeah, I was like, that was my goal, was to saving up. from the first like 3 years of working after college to save up enough money to get a down payment on a house. And luckily I did. I lived like a broke college student. I probably still live like a broke college student because I'm trying to pay the house off. So it's like I still live like a broke college student. I'm not. It's like I'm actually, with my new job, I'm actually making a lot more money than I've ever made before, which is wonderful. What a wonderful problem to have. So, yeah, I was like, I have no problem investing in expensive furniture. I highly recommend if there's one thing in life that you spend money on, it's furniture. Because, guys, IKEA is not your friend. I had, when I was going to college, I had an IKEA bed. And literally, if I rolled over too aggressively, like literally if I like turned over in my bed, the platform for the bed would fall down. And I'd be like sideways tilted, like the platform like half on the ground. And I would like... I bought plywood. I did like every single thing in order to get that, to jerry rig that poor bed in order not to. It's actually one of the first things I bought when I was employed by by the furniture place that I used to work at. As I actually went on Craigslist and found one of their beds on Craigslist for like a couple $100 and bought it. Actually recently sold that for more than I bought it, actually. Which I'm actually really proud of. Like bought this bed for maybe it was $300, and then it came with with boxes that slide underneath, like storage boxes that slide underneath the bed, and I sold the whole thing for. And so I got all of that for $350 or $300, and then I sold just the bed, and I kept those under the bed boxes for $350, like 4 years later. So quality furniture, man. Highly recommend. Anyways, we are almost at the end of this. I think this is the last one I'm doing. Then you're going to see a quick little shot of all 6 of the paintings that I finished. So these are them. They're all different, and they're all beautiful. I think this one on the bottom right here might be my favorite today that I finished. But yeah, I was like, I love how they look together. That one isn't my favorite, but somehow together, when it's in a kind of all of them together, it's beautiful. But anyways, love you guys. Bye.